For more great content, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell.
You could see the drastic change in how well Sentinels played once they added Dapper, and it was like adding, you know, the fifth piece of Exodia or finding that final puzzle piece that put everything together.
He knows they are both hookah. They know both players are defending from hookah. Dapper, though, takes down one. Dapper can't be stopped. He's absolutely on fire this game. That's a 13-7.
Sentinels anchor player Michael Dapper Galino has solidified himself as one of the best in Valorant.
Found them. Down. One enemy remaining. Who could have predicted this? All right.
You know what I mean?
The best Cypher, the best at callouts, and the best at BM.
But now it's EU coming in from the opposite side, looking towards the stairs. Oh, okay. Okay, all right, okay, Dapper. He's gone.
He is angry.
I think I had a bad rep all through Premier of me being toxic, and I won't say it's completely unwarranted.
But it wasn't always this way. Before he was part of one of the best teams in the world, Dapper spent years trying and failing to make it to the top of Counter-Strike.
It sucks being in like that just under professional cycle. It takes a lot of mental strength to, you know, just keep grinding and okay, this year, this is my year. I make Pro League, we do it, we're right there.
So how did a kid on nobody's radar, with no real accolades and a reputation for toxicity, turn himself into one of the best players in the world? This is the rise, fall, and rise again of Dapper. Dapper started out as so many Valorant pros do, playing Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Coming up through various semi-pro leagues and competitions, he eventually found himself with an offer to join a team that longtime esports fans might be familiar with for all the wrong reasons.
And then right when I graduated high school, I joined a team called Denial, which some people might know them as the scam org, but I thought it was a risk that I could take. And at the time, they offered me, I think, $3,000 a month, and I could also move to LA to live in a gaming house.
Despite traveling west for his shot at the big time, it wasn't the rise to stardom Dapper might have hoped for.
This is when I think I started getting my bad rep, because I think I had a bad rep all through Premier of me being toxic. And I won't say it's completely unwarranted, but I think this is where it started, where these guys who are kind of older and had connections were like, dude, I can't deal with how you're reacting to losses or whatever the case may be, just me criticizing. But in reality, what I was doing was being really condescending to my teammates and dude, how are you doing that? You should have done this. And it came off as that way. But in my 18-year-old head, I didn't view it like that. I was like, dude, I'm trying to help you. Why are you getting so angry at me?
This perceived toxicity soured his relationships with fellow teammates and ultimately made for an unwelcoming environment. So when former iBuyPower member Dazed messaged him months later with an offer to join a team called GX Esports, Dapper didn't hesitate.
I left the house in a really dramatic way. They I didn't really tell them until I left, but they knew I was leaving from how I was reacting. And then I didn't say anything, so I was shy. I was I wasn't gonna confront them oh yeah, I'm leaving. I wasn't mature enough to do that. So I booked a flight for 1 a.m. and I just packed my stuff and took a monitor. I remember taking a whole monitor, putting it in my suitcase, and leaving.
Despite the less than ideal exit, GX provided a fresh start for Dapper. But it wasn't long before team drama began to spark up for Dapper once again. At the Season 6 relegation tournament for ESL Pro League, GX showed up hoping to nab one of the coveted Pro League spots for the 2018 season. Unfortunately, the tournament didn't go their way, and in the aftermath, accusations flew.
Literally at the train station, waiting for my train probably an hour or two after I left, my friend texted me and said, hey, these guys are saying you threw the game. And I was like, what? I was just talking to them, it seemed cool. And he's like, yeah, they literally think you lost that game on purpose, or you got a money offer, whatever it was. And I was like, are you trolling? What's going on?
Ultimately, GX released Dapper, resulting in some damage to his reputation. And so, Dapper took to Twitter.
So I ended up making a twit longer about the situation, and they like counter twit longer just said I was like, oh, they're like, you didn't throw, like actually you're just being like toxic and you're just like throwing, making dumb decisions.
With 2 supremely bad experiences in Counter-Strike behind him, Dapper enrolled in college and nearly retired from the game. It was during this time that he wound up on eUnited, and after a string of successes, that team qualified for a DreamHack LAN. But it was set on a particularly inconvenient day for Dapper.
We did so well that we qualified for a DreamHack LAN while my finals were gonna happen, like literally the same date I had finals. So what happened, I was like, it's like a catalyst, like you have to choose.
And with eUnited, he managed to do what he had failed to accomplish with GX. He made it into the ESL Pro League. But this would unfortunately be the highest height Dapper would reach in Counter-Strike.
And that is clearly the right way to play this. Dapper and Moose both ready for this eventually, but look at that shot once more from Dapper.
He's on point for this one. He's ready. He doesn't want to let it go, and he gets the quad kill in this round. Dapper is on one. Wow, impressive play from him. He's already on 8 kills, just 6 rounds into it. He's feeling it.
The fall.
Let's hold it back a bit.
For sure.
This gun round. Let's see what you're made of. Win one gun round.
And I hate to say it, but like you, as eUnited, I mean, both these teams are not going to assume that they're, you know, top 2 in Pro League, but they are looking at the standings and think these are a couple of our easier matches potentially. And those are a couple of great trades to start off this round.
While Dapper was reaching new heights, eUnited weren't satisfied with the results they'd had over the past year.
And then Brax messaged me, and he's like, "What are you gonna do after United?" Or like, what are your plans now?" Or something, just something vague. And I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "Well, 3 of my teammates left to join your team. You don't know?" And I was like, "No, but I guess that means they're replacing me."
After eUnited, Dapper struggled to find a permanent home in Counter-Strike and sustain success with it.
I don't know what you do at this point in time. Rallen is coming in maybe for the final kill here. Mitch getting shot in the back, and now he's stuck in TT spawn as well. He can't get out from this one, surely. This is such a hard map that they've been playing. Esperanto will finish 16-12 as Contact will finally bring down FPX, but it took almost everything. It took a nuts performance out of Rallen.
Listen, they had every opportunity, FPX, to come back in that, and they let it slip away, and I think they'll be frustrated watching those last 5 rounds of Dust 2, because that was a bit brutal. They had a lot of chances.
In March of 2020, Dapper found himself on Bad News Bears, alongside future Valorant star Crashies. But with rumors of toxicity still orbiting around Dapper, he remained an unappealing pickup for the more successful teams in the Counter-Strike ecosystem. But in April of 2020, all of that changed.
And then I joined my last team, which is Bad News Bears. And this was the point that Valorant rumors were like really, you know, like the beta was like being released, like almost like it was like right there where like the keys were starting to come out. And at this point, I actually think I was playing some of the best CS I ever had. I was like peak form. We were like hard owning Premier, all this stuff. We got invited to Flashpoint.
Despite his reservations, Dapper retired from Counter-Strike in May of 2020, hoping to stake a claim in the new fledgling tactical shooter. And this proved to be the best decision of his life. The Rise again.
It's just a Cypher and the Omen back on site, and no smokes up right now. Zom's gonna try and be the one to help out his teammate here. The Cypher playing the tight corner, but it's gonna be Zom's now isolated on the site as Dapper peeks. He's got the right timing, and that's all 3 lining up for him.
When I first started competing in Valorant, it was kind of like a breath of fresh air. You know, when everything's new, everything's different, and you could pretty much, you know, the world is your oyster. You could kind of do whatever you want. I think that team was like a really big learning step for all of us. Like everybody's learning your first team, like you learn how to play as a team. You try new strategies. You do all these new things. Everything coming on today or coming on to play for scrims is so much fun because like, oh, what are we gonna do today? Like, there's so much you could do.
It wasn't long before Dapper was approached by Sentinels, who had their eye on him since his CSGO days. In May of 2020, they extended an offer to try out for the team.
The tryout process wasn't like anything crazy. I think I played a couple scrims with them, just see how we felt, and I think they just liked how much I talked. Like I'm always a player that like I calm a lot. I throw out ideas. I still do it to this day. I'm like almost like a secondary IGL.
Dapper instantly gelled with the All-Star roster, and in their first Ignition Series tournament together, that level of comfort and synergy showed on the server.
That was so close for GMD, but Sinatraa just too quick on the trigger. The Phantom finds the headshot first, and now Dapper so confident. Get out of here, Michael. They are just pushing their way onto the A site and calling out to the Omen. Bring us the bomb, buddy. Effie's last one standing, but it's just a pistol and a dream. As the Sage player has nothing else to work with, all utility gone, and he's pinned in. It's only a matter of time before Shazam comes in to get this final pick.
Sentinels went undefeated in the group stage, but were ultimately knocked out in the first round of the elimination bracket. Despite the lackluster finish though, Sentinels were only getting started.
We had a really long talk about like what happened, how we want to play, how we would not lose like that again, and this is the first time we had a talk like that, but it's also like we've had this talk many times in the future, and it's always after a big loss. And I think this is what I'd call like a catalyst to our team, is that we could have this really impactful talk to get us all on the same page again.
This talk seemed to do the trick. In the months leading up to the start of the Valorant Champions Tour, Sentinels developed themselves into a force to be reckoned with, rarely placing lower than top 4.
Ready to stop Envy as they come in. There's one, you were right. It was that save here, so it's going to be tough for Envy to come in. And the traps are just shutting them down. Dapper, Sinatraa making quick work of B, and they'll take this third round for themselves.
You could see the drastic change in how well Sentinels played once they added Dapper, and it was like adding, the 5th piece of Exodia or finding that final puzzle piece that put everything together.
As the VCT began, Sentinels were an instant contender, having already taken tournament wins off of all the other top teams. And Dapper stood out as the team's anchor, and as their ultimate BM aficionado.
It's waiting in B main. In case things do really get scary. So first pick gonna come through, holds down the spray in case somebody double swung on him, but now it's EU coming in from the opposite side, looking towards the stairs. Oh, okay. All right, okay, Dapper, gone.
He is angry.
And I think really a lot of that does come down to Dapper bringing that presence, that spine that I really like bringing. He is the spine of the team, and he really keeps everything kind of grounded and just lets everyone else be their crazy selves because he kind of calms everything down.
Sentinels crushed the first Challengers tournament and were looking to take the second when suddenly disaster struck.
After that was the Texas snowstorm, which was insane for most of us. Like we had to like cancel the event, got like delayed a whole day because we had no internet, no nothing, no water, no heat for like 2 weeks or like a week.
Even in light of these hardships, Sentinels still managed to take second at Challengers 2 and went on to clean house at the first Masters tournament, only dropping a single map in their entire run.
You're right. Everybody's playing well across the board with that confidence coming into the team, even with the swap before Masters here. Spikes planted. Dapper toying here. Cypher diff. Toying. No, bro. He did it to him. He did it to him.
They smell blood. It's in the water. And they want to finish it off. And TenZ is looking to do it in style. Marv, 2 HP left. Here comes a dagger with his name on it. But it's going to be sick. Who's going to get it done? And that's a wrap. 3-0 Grand Final. Sentinels are the champions for the NA Masters here in Valorant.
Thanks to the COVID-19 pandemic, all Valorant tournaments at this point were being held online. So while his current wins were certainly feathers in his cap, Dapper knew that the real test would be producing those same results on LAN.
Like, I did have like a whole bunch of like happiness, like, yeah, I'm making it, like, we're doing well, we're like the top of the NA scene. NA was arguably, obviously there's no international play, but NA looked arguably like one of the best regions in the game. So like, by that thing, we're almost one of the best teams in the world before we've had any international event. I had some really good recognition on like being the best Cypher. I was playing well. So like all that made me feel really good. But at the end of the day, I didn't like really feel like I made it.
In order to make it that far, Sentinels would have to crush the competition all over again throughout VCT Stage 2.
The ways we win, it kind of feels too easy, you know? Like, it's too easy, it feels like sometimes. So it's like, it feels like, it's like weird. It feels weird when you're winning and a lot, and it feels too easy. But like, I mean that like a humble way, like.
Heading into Reykjavik, it just kind of felt like there was this enormous gap between Sentinels and everyone else in North America, where you really didn't know how strong Sentinels were just because they were so ahead of the pack.
But before they could even get started, Sentinels face planted, losing the first qualifying tournament of Stage 2 to a team that wasn't on anyone's radar.
Health bars are low. Will looking to spray through the smoke, taking some damage in response. Bure on the flank finds one. The defuse now being stuck by Shazam. No, he's forced to hop off. The kills will come through, and there it is. BBG first across the finish line. We'll see him in the closed qualifiers, and they dethrone the NA Kings.
There was just a lot of going wrong with Sentinels. It was, you know, Tens, I believe, was in Los Angeles. He was playing on like 5 different mice, and just everyone was just kind of out of sync. And I think it kind of highlighted that Sentinels are so good because they're so coordinated as one.
This loss necessitated another one of those hard but healing talks. And when given their next opportunity, Sentinels did not let it go to waste. They blazed a trail through the competition in the second Challengers tournament and locked in their spot at Stage 2 Masters in Reykjavik, the first Valorant International LAN.
Sick right behind him, playing up towards heaven. Not going to spot him out just yet. Sick does do that, chipped away to half HP. Around the corner, and Zeta needs to hang on. A 1v1 Zom's full HP, 52 health for the Sova. As he looks to re-swing, that's going to do it. Zoms will sit him down. Sick, Dapper, Zom, Shazam, and Tens. Sentinels, pack your bags, you're headed to Iceland.
Dapper and Zoms, especially Dapper, was just this king of the anchors where if he was on Cypher or Killjoy, it just felt like if you went to his site, there was no reason to go there because you were going to end up losing that round. And you could rely on Dapper to be that anchor, just as good of a rifler as Tens, maybe even better at times.
But with his first chance to prove himself on LAN just around the corner, it looked like Dapper was going to miss out once again.
I internally was worried because I knew I had COVID. I had never taken a test. Like, I had never actually had it confirmed it was COVID. It just all the telltale signs were there. Couldn't taste, couldn't smell, had like a fever or like the flu-ish symptoms. So I was like, okay, let me go get a test. Like, let me just confirm it to myself a little bit after that, like, I had COVID, and I tested positive. And obviously this is like red lights. The first thing I went to deny, I went to like the 7th stage of the grief. I was like, nah, I didn't have COVID. That was a bad test. I got unlucky. Like, it was a false positive. I took 2 more tests, both positive. And at this point, I was freaking out. It was probably a week before I had to leave. And he needed like 3 days before the negative test to go fly.
With the strict travel restrictions at the height of the pandemic, there was nothing Dapper could do except take more tests. Meanwhile, Sentinels were preparing for the possibility that they would have to play without him.
So they had everything set up. I think they're setting up different graphics in case I couldn't go, like with Zachary. And I was doing everything possible. I tried to do everything I could. I went to 5 different places. I took a spit test, a nose test, a mouth test, a deep throat, everything. Like, all the tests I could possibly think of. And I'm not gonna say it works, but one of those tests were false. And that was the test that I was like, oh dude, I'm good.
With a negative test in hand, Dapper made his way to his first Valorant LAN, where he and the rest of Sentinels would have to take down the best teams from all over the globe.
If they use that much, then they don't have too much to take the site over, and Tens continues to go to work.
Yeah, he does. 2 kills.
on the board already before they've even gotten to the site. And, oh, it just doesn't stop here. Sentinels, another Prime Gaming flawless for them. It's been so many in this half.
He has to wait. They have to draw fake control here. Oh, he does it. They come in. So Boaster says, go off my plays. Go off these orbs. We have to be able to hit them and figure out where some are. So now Boaster gets that sentry information to where the players of Sentinels could be.
And there it is. Dapper's going to lock it in. Sentinels have bested Fnatic in the upper bracket. 2-0, but it wasn't anything except a very, very close series. This could have gone absolutely either way.
In the end, the best the world had to offer wasn't enough.
They're running through. Sonar up. Dome was close, they don't know.
Oh my god, he gets flashed! The team flash! The team flash! Magnum's in the smoke here, 10 seconds. Oh my god! Magnum's got no HP, not like this! Sentinels! They're gonna get the defuse! They've done it! Sentinels are the Masters 2 Reykjavik champions! And they do it flawlessly! They didn't drop a single map! They have made history here, Riv, because they are the first global champions in Valorant history!
Sentinels swept Fnatic 3-0 in the grand finals, walking out of the tournament undefeated. It was as dominant a showing as anyone could ask for, and a level of prestige that Dapper had never achieved before.
We kind of just handled business. It almost seemed too easy for us. Like, and I don't really mean that in like a condescending ego way, but genuinely I expected so much more of a challenge, and we just kind of hit our full stride. It felt like we could do no wrong. All of our reads were right. These guys couldn't touch us, and we won a LAN. We won the first Valorant LAN without dropping a map, and it was like surreal to me. It really like didn't hit me for a long time after that. Like, wow, we did that.
Sentinels had proven they were the best in the world, and through the entirety of Stage 3, never failed to win a tournament. But being at the top paints a target on your back.
Oh, but Sick up top could be in a very key position. Nova Pulse was spent. Sick, though, falls. Dapper trying to follow up, finds one, not going to get the second. Just down to Zombs. Able to find the first. Needs to find 3 more behind this, though. Caught into a slow orb. Def will punish. And Xset punched their ticket to Challengers playoffs by taking down the Goliath of Sentinels.
At Stage 3 Masters Berlin, Sentinels found themselves at a disadvantage. One of the teams in their group couldn't make it to the event, and they had to play twice as many games as their competition.
So like in our head, it was like, well, we could relax. Like these games don't matter, and we also had like this thing where we thought if we play really hard and we try to win, we might show stuff that we didn't do before that other teams that we play later in the event will look back on and like counter strat against us. So I think just from the group format perspective, we lost right there.
After losing their match to G2, the morale in Sentinels took a significant hit. And when facing off against the new and improved Team Envy and their star player Ye, their low spirits proved lethal.
Now they try and bide the time. The flash comes in. It doesn't quite find what they wanted. Ye still trying to dip between CT and watching that drop down. Shazam is there. Tens, they're all looking for it. No opportunities being found. It's traded out again. Ye's there. It's all on Shazam, and it's over. It's done with. They say when you come for the king, you best not miss. An Envy, they didn't.
For the first time since joining Sentinels, Dapper found himself knocked out before even making it to the semi-finals. But while some might say the kings of Valorant have been dethroned, Dapper sees it another way.
I think that event was a big learning experience for us for being in a weird situation, and honestly we're just going to take it as a opportunity to grow, and if we're ever facing a similar situation, we'll know how to handle it better. In the short term, it does suck, like being as regarded as one of the best teams, and then like you have a bad event and it's like, oh, these guys, like, they lost it, they got complacent, they're washed now, like whatever the case may be. It sucks. So we're just gonna have to prove the pattern. The pattern always comes true. We always bounce back. So I wouldn't bet against us.
With champions just around the corner, Sentinels have their chance at redemption, and Dapper will have his chance at his next big goal, making a mark in Valorant. Literally.
in League of Legends, the people who wins Worlds and Worlds champions are like the equivalent of Worlds. They get a skin in the game or like whatever the case may be. They're memorialized in the game in some fashion, and I think that is like my final goal to like in this game. Like I need a Dapper skin, man. So that's I'm going in. I'm not giving you guys an inch. Like we're going for blood.